In this video, I will be walking through the group by clause that is used as part of select queries. The purpose of the group by clause is to provide aggregations based on values in a column. Let's take a look at an example of building an aggregation based on values in a column. Let's first start by using the text database. In the text database, we can take a look at the stock table. We see that in the stock table, we have 16 rows returned and we have 7 columns. One of the columns is the column called NAT code with UK, IND, UK, USA, Australia. Now, one common question one can ask is how many stocks belong to each nation? While I don't have nation name over here, I do have NAT code, and we will see in just a bit how to include the nation name, but I can still use NAT code as a column, and I can try to count the stocks for each nation. Now, if I were to do this just manually, I would see that Australia occurs 3 times, so Australia has 3 stocks. IND or India has 1 stock, UK has a bunch of stocks over here, and USA has 2 stocks associated with it. Now, in a query, one can get this result by using the group by clause. For instance, I can write the following query, select NAT code, and I can count the number of times stock code occurs for values of NAT code from the stock table. Unfortunately, this query won't execute by itself because SQL is going to wonder, you want me to count stock code, but you also have a NAT code column that is, as it were, unaggregated, right? And so what SQL is looking for at this stage is a group by clause. In this case, we want to count stock code for each and every distinct value of NAT code, and so we shall be using group by NAT code right here. When you run this query, you get the following result. You see that Australia has 3 stocks, as we saw manually, India has 1, UK has 10, and USA has 2 stocks associated with it. And so for each and every distinct value of NAT code, we have counted values of stock code. Now, extending this just a little bit further, instead of NAT code, we might want the actual nation name. And so I can select from, now the stock table is actually joined to the nation table. The stock table has a foreign key called NAT code, and this NAT code corresponds to the nation table's NAT code column, which is the primary key in nation. So I can select from nation, join stock on nation.natcode is equal to stock.natcode. I can select now NAT name, because NAT name exists in the nation table, and I can count values of stock code as long as I group by NAT name. When I run this, instead of getting the NAT code, I would get the nation name. Now, one of the advantages of the group by clause is that yes, it does allow us to perform aggregations, and there are a set of aggregation related functions. And so not only can you use count as part of the group by clause, you can use some of the other functions that we've taken a look at. You can use average, you can use sum, you can use min and max, as part of the group by clause. What's an example of this? Taking the very same query, we can select nat name and count of stock code from nation join stock on nation.natcode is equal to stock.natcode group by nat name. Now, in addition to doing just a count of stocks, one can also find the average stock price. One can also sum up stock quantity. One can find the minimum value of stock dividend and the maximum value of stock dividend. And so we can see that these are the different functions that we can run with the group by clause: counts, averages, sums, mins, and maxes. So in this case, we are counting the number of stocks, averaging the stock price, summing up stock quantity, looking at the minimum values of share dividend and the maximum values of share dividend for each of these, for stocks in each of those countries. This concludes the walkthrough of the group by clause. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.